So first story is out of Wall Street, and it is going to come to us courtesy of Axios Media. And then this is Netflix. Their stock price soars after adding more subscribers than expected. Netflix stock jumped more than 6% in after-hours trading after Tuesday. That's 2 days ago, Tuesday, as we record this, after the company said it added 13 million net new streaming subscribers, handily beating analyst expectations of 8 million. Better than expected subscriber growth last quarter suggests the streamer's efforts to retain users through cracking down on password sharing and offering a cheaper ad-supported tier are networking. Not sure you can make that conclusion, but okay. Beating Wall Street expectations also suggests Netflix's price hikes introduced last quarter haven't impacted subscriber growth. That is a conclusion I think you can make. Anyway, the article goes on to talk a little bit about some of the big picture items, and basically concluding that Netflix is still the only major streaming company that is profitable. What do you think about this, and what does it say largely about it was this time last year when you and I were having conversations and the headlines were like, streaming media is in trouble, it's dying, it's gonna go away. There was all these sort of doom and gloom headlines, and this seems to be like streaming media sort of waving out the middle finger to the world, saying we're stronger than ever. What do you think?
I wouldn't say it's streaming media. I would say it's Netflix. Okay. And if I had to look back on that conversation we had about a year ago, you're right. I would say that somebody smart at Netflix said, let's start paying astronomical amounts for content. We'll see if these other streaming networks can try to keep up with us, which they can't, and we'll break them. Yeah. And they did. And basically everyone else is struggling except Netflix. And here they are, they're reaping the rewards. And they, of course, they pulled back with their content investments just like everyone else have, but they still spend billions and they've got the best agreements going. And maybe, so yes, the price hikes did not affect them at all. I think that you could say that Netflix is almost a staple service in American households and maybe global households. But the thing
that's the key word. I think you just said the key word, which is global. They have a global strategy where the other ones don't.
The theme on the show, we'll talk more about the idea of everything sort of going global. But you brought this up last week, and this is the thing that hit home outside of the results for me. You talked about the importance of event programming, and you're going to see like the Oscars, like NFL, their deal with the WWE for 5 years exclusively, which I did not see coming, because if you listen to any of the conference calls and looked at any of the stuff from Netflix before, they would say two things. They'd say, we're not getting into the ad-supported model ever, and we're not going to do the event game.
Yeah.
Well, what did they do? They've shown that their ad-supported models worked really well, and now they're starting to actually license events.
That's right.
That WWE
and that's only the first of many that are
huge.
coming for sure. Yeah.
Yes. That WWE deal, I think it's 5 years at 10 billion or some crazy that only Netflix would probably come to, maybe Apple, but Netflix comes to the table and do this. So I think that it's interesting. What I see happening, this is an idiotic prediction, but I think let's go way out in 3 to 5 years. I think you have Netflix and you have Apple, and then you have Amazon doing whatever the heck they want to do. But I think
Amazon's not going away. Yeah. Amazon's
they're not going away. Absolutely. But strategically for streaming, I think you're going to have Apple's going to play a key because of the fact that they're going to get into automobiles. Sure. They know that people that watch Apple TV are more likely to buy Apple products. That's huge content marketing play for them. And
it's a different business model, right?
Too. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, Apple and Amazon are different in the sense that the business model behind why they do streaming is they don't have to be profitable. Basically, they don't need to be profitable. They just need to make sure that they're keeping that, as a marketing program, that it's keeping pace with what it's supposed to be doing, which in Apple's case is creating an ecosystem to buy more Apple hardware. Mm-hmm. And it's not lost on me that their new headset just went out and sold 180,000 units. I think it was 180,000 units, which everybody was sort of reporting as, that's not that much. But when you do the math and you go 180,000 units
times 3,500,
at $3,500 a piece, that's a real business, right? And
again, the luxury market.
Exactly. And so they're fine. And Amazon, of course, continues with their they're tightening their belt for sure. We've reported on it on this show that they've tightened their belt, but for them, it's always about, how many Prime members can they get stay subscribed to Amazon Prime, and how many new people come on board to Amazon, because it's a developing a deeper relationship with a retailer. So it's all about, for them, it's all about the relationship. For Apple, it's all about the relationship. And for Netflix, it's all about the profitability. And everybody else, Max as part of Warner Discovery, and you've got Disney, and that they're the ones that really have to figure out what they're doing.
Well, if you look at per our opening conversation about people cutting the cord.
Yeah, that's
in a lot of cases, television to people, TV is Netflix. So if you look at it that way, and you put Apple and Amazon off to the side, what do you have? You have Max, HBO Max, and you got Disney over there, and then you got Paramount and Peacock and all these other tertiary players. They don't have the quality or the numbers of new titles. Every day you go to Netflix, they've got 3, 4, 10, 20 new titles in there every day. You will not find that on any other of those streaming networks. So as people are going every day to see what's new, they're just not competing. It's not a fair fight.
And I would say, so there was a concept in programming. This was big in the 90s for sure, when terrestrial TV was still really the driving force, before the internet and streaming really came along. And the way that you would program things is that you would create, must-see TV. And then if you had new series or new things that you wanted to get to be popular, you would put them adjacent to whatever it was that was super popular at the time. The classic example of this is, when they launched Friends, they put it right adjacent to Seinfeld. And so that basically created a drafting effect for those, for those shows. And so what Netflix is doing so brilliantly now is balancing the old series that they license with the new content. And now that they have this sort of influx of people that they can look at, and then audiences that they can look at, they can draft those things, right? So for example, the big thing right now, the huge #1 streaming show right now is Suits, which is the show from 2009 to, I think
it's been around forever.
It's been around forever. And never really hit when it was on terrestrial TV. But now that it's on Netflix, is hugely popular. And so they can use that to draft into other new, to launch new shows that are similar, to launch new, to introduce new properties to people. So, and I think WWE is a great example of this. Event television brings the new audience. And let's be honest, this is directly targeted toward those who are going to support the ad model, right? The advertising model. And those of that's going to bring in that audience, and they can introduce new programming to that audience that, that helps them. So it's just wonderful sort of flywheel effect that you get, that's going to help them, help them. So in other words, I'm predicting a success for Netflix from this point out.